Alright, on the last video, I said I was going to make a tutorial how to tune. I know most people already get it by now, but there's some people that are new, some people that are trying to play the game but haven't yet, or people that might not know the basics of drag racing or tuning suspension or anything like that. So I'm going to start off with this. It's pretty much maxed out. Everything's maxed out. Got a Pro Charger on it. Anything that you can buy, I bought just to start out with something like that. The suspension, torque arm, I said everything's maxed out. So I'm going to show you how to do the dyno tuning, and I'm going to show you how to do test and tune tuning. So suspension tuning, gear tuning, nitrous or boost tuning, and of course it's on a 28-10-5. That's all I run. I don't do the big tire stuff. Not as fun. So everything's on default settings right now. I haven't changed anything at all. Everything's where it was when I left it, but I'm going to throw it on the dyno real quick and go from there. Yep, forgot to raise the rev limiter. So on this, always make the limiter RPM 10,000. Even if you don't shift it that high, just make it that. Just makes it a lot simpler. Make the shift light wherever you want it. If you want to shift at 85, if you want to shift at 75, 95, whatever. And of course, I adjust the delay box depending on what tree I'm racing on. And the launch RPM, I usually set it between 5 and 6,000 just to see where it likes it. Let's get another run in. Alright, so down below the chart, there's 8 dots. You got fuel rate and timing, the pink and orange, and you want them to line up on the green line, perfectly straight. So 8 dots. There's also 8 bars, I guess you want to call it, right here, and that's what you do it off of. So if you look at the chart, you see the fuel and timing's a little low in the beginning, and then it levels off, and then the timing's a little high at the end on each dot. So that's where you want to raise or lower them. So obviously the beginning, you want to raise the fuel rate and the timing. So I usually do about 2 or 3 bars at a time, just so I don't lose myself. You can pay 300 gold for the perfect tune, but that's not fun. So you see the 3 dots, they're met. Right at the green line where it's supposed to be. Now you add a little fuel and take away a little timing on the next 2 dots. So that's when you go to the tune computer, go to the bars. Like I said, maybe do 2 or 3 at a time. So I'll add a little bit of fuel there, and then I'll take a little bit of timing away on these 2, and then run it again. Alright, now you got the first 5 dots where they're supposed to be. And now the next one, the fuel looks good, but the last 2, it needs to take a little bit away. And then the rest of the run needs timing taken away. So tune the computer, go to the fuel rate, take a little fuel out, and then take a good bit of timing out to get them dots to line right up on the green line, right where you want it. That's the perfect tune. And run it again. Got the fuel all dialed in. Need to take a little more timing away, so probably like 1 bar from each one in the last 3, and that should get it all dialed in. Make sure the boost is all the way up. Yep, that's good. And there's the perfect tune. All the dots line up. 3477 horsepower. We started out at 3100. Save the gold, and it takes less than 5 minutes. You might as well do it. Alright, so now I think we're ready to start making some passes and get the suspension all dialed in. So usually I know where to put it to start out, but I'm just going to leave it how it is for now and just see what happens, so you guys can really see how the tuning process works. was a big old wheelie, probably because the gear ratios. It trapped like 176, I think it was. I know what a 28-10-5 car usually traps, and it's about 188 to 190. So what you want to do is make 6th gear where your trap speed is. And then get all the other gears dialed in, and I'll show you what to do and why to do it. So I have my own gear ratios that I use. You can use them or you can make your own, however you want to do it. But I'm going to show you why I do what I do. So as you can see, the green dots or the green lines and the dots at the top, that's the RPM. And then the numbers on top, that's the mile per hour. So I kind of make it a gradual curve to where each gear, it raises the RPM so it's not fighting as hard to rev out. That's just what I do. We're also going to move the weight a little forward so it doesn't wheelie. So a good tip that I do, and I'm glad they did it, was they add the replay. So you can see what the car is doing, what the suspension is doing. So obviously it's coming up way too fast, and that has to do with the ride height. So now we're going to get into the suspension, and I'm going to try my hardest to explain this as best as I can and as clear as I can. So the clearance, that's the ride height. The stiffness, that's pretty much how good the bump and rebound actually works, and also how stiff or soft the suspension is. The bump, that's the body going into the tire, or the tire going into the body. The rebound, that's the tire going away from the body. So on this game, you want it to transfer weight when you launch. You want the body to go into the rear tire and the front wheels to travel up to transfer the weight better. So pretty much the bump is the shock compressing, the rebound is it separating. What you really want to worry about is the rear bump and the front rebound, and mess with the stiffnesses. And I'll go over that as we get to tuning more, but I'm just going to give you the basic rundown of what each one does. The extension, that's how far the wheels stick out, which really doesn't affect anything but looks. The bump in the back, you want it low so it transfers the weight, so it crushes the body into the back tire. The rebound, you want to mess with it to see if it wheelies or not, to see how fast the front tire comes up. Made a good improvement on ET, but it spun pretty much half the whole pass. So as you can see, as soon as it hits the tire, it spins. It's not transferring the weight, and it's not hitting the tire as hard as it should. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the rear a little stiffer, and then probably lower the rebound in the front to make the front wheels come up faster. And then on the bump, we're going to raise the bump in the rear to make it a little more stable, and also put the weight a little further back. Just going to lower the weight a little bit to see if it still wheelies. that was actually good. A gradual wheelie, it didn't just come right up and hit the rear bumper. So that means you're going to raise the rebound in the front to slow down the front wheels coming up. That was it. That was a pass right there for minimal changes. I mean, watch it. It spins and then it hooks. And the front comes up perfectly. That's how you want it. Just a small little power wheelie. You don't want it coming up on the back bumper. You just want to ride it out 60 feet and then drop and then just go. So the reason why I keep the bump so low in the front is because when it lands from the wheelie, it just drops and comes up real smooth and just keeps on riding. So the only thing I'm going to do right now is change the final gear, lower it a little bit because it revved out at like 188 at the end of the run. And the reason why first gear is 425 is because that gives it that first initial push when you take off the line, and then the rest of the gears follow. And also make the rear bump a little softer so maybe it doesn't spin as much off the hit. Another perfect consistent pass. Now you see it spins a little bit off the hit and then it catches it. And that's why first gear is so high compared to second. Because once it shifts into second, it hooks and just goes. Just going to raise the front rebound a little bit just to control the wheelie. See if that helps. So that's why you make small changes, because you can always go back. That change didn't do anything, it made it worse. So I'm going to lower the rebound in the front to make it wheelie a little better. Another key thing is tire temperature. I like to keep it 124 to 127. Play with it and see where it hooks the best, and that's how you get the best results from tire temp. Well, you can't argue it's not consistent. It's very consistent, and that's the key to this game to be competitive, because a lot of guys, they get their cars running good times, but it only does it on a Hail Mary pass. You know, it might do 390, and then you might get a 370 out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, where'd that come from? What I like to do is get it consistent as possible. And one piece of advice that I would give you guys is make small changes. That way you can always go back or write everything down that you changed so you can always revert back. That's the best way to do it, so you don't get too far gone where you're making changes and chasing your tail the whole time. It's just easier just to make small changes. All I'm doing is giving you pretty much a baseline and a tutorial on how to tune. I'm not giving you a tune. I mean, you can use this tune, but I'm not trying to give you a tune and saying, oh, do this and you'll do good in the game. I'm just trying to show you how to tune for the guys that are new. I hope it helps. I'm going to finish this video off with some multiplayer racing. Hope you guys enjoy the No Limit videos. I'll have some Fox Body Turbo LS stuff coming very soon. I've been slacking on that in that department, but the views are on these No Limit videos, so I'm just going to keep on doing them. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.